This video introduces one of the most important and useful concepts in economics: opportunity cost. Let's begin at a college football stadium just outside Boston. Partly, I was here in my capacity as sports nut. Touchdown! One of the many fans following the fortunes of the Boston College Eagles. But the armchair economist in me was looking for more than an easy win. Seeing that so many people had chosen to spend their day cheering their favorite team to victory, I wondered first about the economic benefit these fans placed on attending the game.
Let's say I offered each of you, I said, I'm going to buy your ticket. You can't go to the game.
How much would you offer?
$10.
Not worth it.
Would anybody take 15?
No.
75?
No.
80? If I give you 80?
I'd take 80.
I set my limit at 100.
Let's say I offered you $100 for your ticket.
I don't think so, Charlie. I don't see that. I'm sorry. I can't do it.
$500.
No.
$600.
No.
Come on. I'd give you $600 right now.
No, this is my day. This is it, yeah.
So if I'd offer you $10,000, you literally wouldn't do it?
No. No.
No price?
No price.
Now, maybe this guy's ticket really is priceless. We'll check in with him later to find out. But whether his or any of the other fans' economic thinking is sound depends on whether the benefit is equal to or greater than the cost, the total cost. In economics, what's known as the opportunity cost. Everything which is given up to get something else. In this case, what's given up to attend this game. How does an economist look at opportunity cost? We asked Professor Mary Stevenson of Boston College's rival, the University of Massachusetts.
Well, it's the single most important concept in economics. It's the choices that we have to make and what we sacrifice when we make a choice. For many of us, we have hard choices to make about how we're going to spend our limited money. But even for people who have lots more money than we do, there's still the question of how you're going to spend your time. Even somebody like Bill Gates has to make choices about how to spend his time because he has the same hours in the day that the rest of us do.
In other words, the practical implication of scarcity in economics is that everything we do has a cost, an opportunity cost. Suppose, for example, that we asked Nobel laureate economist Robert Solow to speak to your class. In economic terms, how would he analyze it?
I say to myself, what would I do with the time and trouble that it's going to take me to prepare for this class, give the class, answer the questions, come back home, take a shower, and settle down for the evening? And that will give me a number. Suppose I can value that time and trouble. The thing I would do instead of doing that is something that I would pay $1,000 to do. Then what I should say is that any price over and above $1,000 makes this a net gain for me. That doesn't say I should ask for a $1,000 fee. I should ask for the largest fee that I think the sucker will pay. But if that largest fee is not as much as $1,000, then I won't go.
As it turns out, this is a rather old idea, as we learned from the man on the $100 bill, Ben Franklin, who expressed it somewhat differently in the late 1700s.
You, sir, once wrote that time is money. And 250 years later, it's become a cliche. What was it exactly that you wrote?
Well, it was somewhat more than that in my little epistle, Advice to a Young Tradesman.
In the pamphlet Advice to a Young Tradesman, which Ben published himself in 1748, he coined the famous phrase, using as his example a worker who usually makes 10 shillings a day, but chooses to work only half a day, then hits the pub and spends 6 pennies there.
Remember that time is money. He that can earn 10 shillings a day by his labor and goes abroad or sits idle one half of that day, though he but spends but 6 pence during his diversion, ought not to reckon that the only expense. He has really spent, or rather thrown away, 5 shillings besides.
So your point is that time is money in the sense that he's foregone the 5 shillings he would otherwise have made.
He has not the opportunity, right.
Ah, and they now call that opportunity cost, you know.
No, I've not heard of that. Opportunity cost.
The cost of having been idle when he could have been earning money.
Ah, I see your point. I see your point.
I think it was your point, sir.
Now, the concept of opportunity cost includes all the resources that go into any course of action. Cash out of pocket, time, energy, and so forth. Resources both hidden and obvious, translated into the coin of the realm in economics, money. Resources that I could have used to do something else. So, the opportunity cost of going to the game is the value to me of what I could have done instead.
And this is crucial since the basic premise of economics is trade-offs. The idea that you can't have it all. So, what opportunities am I missing if I'm at the BC game?
You could have been at the Nutmeg Ballet, or you could have been at a nightclub. We all have choices to make, and every choice involves giving up something else.
If you choose one of them rather than the other, the opportunity cost of doing that thing is the one that you don't do, the option that you don't take.
And what it's worth to you.
And what it's worth to you, its value to you.
Solo uses the example of this very course.
The opportunity cost of the time and trouble you're spending taking this course is precisely the best activity that you would substitute for it if you decided you couldn't. Imagine that it got canceled. Imagine that the course went up in smoke somehow. You would have so many hours a week on your hands. There is one best thing that you would decide to do with that time. So in effect, you're sacrificing that in order to take the course, and that's your opportunity cost.
People often forget this, though, right? I mean,
People, first of all, they think of cost only as purely monetary. They don't have the notion that there's a scarce resource, often their own time and effort, and to use it in one place is not to use it in another. And when you're not when you're not doing something that you could have done, you are sacrificing that thing. You're giving it up, and that's your cost.
There's one last small matter to resolve. That fanatic at the football game. When we forced the issue, it turns out that even he had a price.
No, but if I offer you $1 million for your ticket.
I might do that, yeah.
Might do that because for anything at some price, the opportunity cost for practically anyone simply becomes too high.